everybody. Welcome to our 30-minute yoga class here at Driven. My name is Beth. I'm so glad you're here and joining me today. We have a really nice practice planned. The focus is going to be on your breath. Having controlled breathing, realizing when you're breathing shallow, going back into those deeper breaths. And for the purposes of our practice today, we'll match movement to breath, and I'll cue you throughout. This is important not only on the mat, but off the mat as well, because when we're aware of our shallow breathing, which is not the most efficient or effective way to breathe, we can make changes to it. And especially in times of stress and so much uncertainty, it's a really great tool to have. So glad you're here. Let's get started. Oh, and if you have some blocks or a strap, you may or may not need them, but you can have them handy. If you don't have blocks, you can use books, or I like to use a couch cushion. They're usually nice and thick. And if you don't have a strap, you can grab a belt or a scarf or a tie. So if you like to have those handy, grab those now. And then we're actually going to start in hero's pose. So sitting on your heels. And if this is uncomfortable for you, it can be a deep quad stretch, and for some people it hurts in the knees. So that if that's you, grab your block or your pillow and you can sit on it, which makes the pose a little bit more gentle. You can use 2 blocks, 2 pillows, whatever you need to feel comfortable in the pose. So don't let anything hurt. All right, so sitting up nice and tall in hero's pose. So heels and toes are together behind you, getting a nice stretch through the top of the ankles. Bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. You can close your eyes if you want, or just gaze down at the floor. And just notice. Not doing anything special here, just notice. Know that you're sitting on the mat. Know that you're starting your practice. And if you're really still like this, sometimes you can feel your heart beating in your chest, so just notice that. And notice the rhythm of your breath. Notice how deep into your container, your body, your inhale goes. And notice how long your exhale is. And wherever you are, it's fine. It's perfect. Just noticing that. But as we move into a more controlled, deeper breath, when you inhale, expand your belly. And as you exhale, relax your belly and then draw your navel in towards your spine. Inhale and expand your belly. Breathe into your belly and draw that breath up into your ribs and to your chest. And then as you exhale, lower your chest, relax your ribs, relax your belly, and pull your navel in. Inhale down into your belly. Draw that breath all the way up. And because your hands are on your body, on your torso, you should feel that movement of the breath going in. And then the movement also of the breath going out. Everything kind of collapses, not really collapses, but collapses a little bit. And just stay here for a moment, closing your eyes if you feel comfortable doing that. Feeling the rhythm of the breath going in. And then the breath going out. Trying to keep the breath slow and steady. And as we talked about many times before, in times of real stress, a great breathing technique is to create a longer exhale, an exhale that's longer than your inhale. So you might even count. You can try that now if you want. Inhale maybe to the count of 4. And then exhale to the count of 6 or 7, whatever feels comfortable for you. So just a couple more breaths right here. Staying present, feeling the breath moving in and moving out. and also relaxing into the rhythm of the breath. One more time. All right, nice job, everybody. You can just release your hands to the side and just roll your head around a couple of times, nice and slowly, just to loosen up the neck in all directions. And then a few times in the opposite direction. That feels so good. And then we're going to start with a very simple flow. No crazy poses or anything, but the purpose of this flow is to match movement to breath, and be aware of when you're inhaling, when the chest is when the chest is open, and exhaling when the chest is closed. So let me show you what I mean. We're going to start in child's pose. So from child's pose, we're going to come up into tabletop as we inhale. Okay? Then we're going to tuck our toes, exhale, go into down dog. From there, we're going to inhale and come right into a cow pose. So dropping the knees, pressing the shoulders back and the chest forward. And then exhale, child's pose. That's it. Just those few poses. But we really want to match the breath to the movement. And because we're practicing deep, slow breathing, we're going to move slowly through this flow. So we'll do it, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 times. So everyone find your child's pose. Inhale, come into tabletop, nice and slowly, keeping the core engaged. Nice alignment here. Exhale, tuck your toes, down dog. Nice and slow. Slow motion. And then inhale, drop your knees and come into cow pose. Pressing your shoulders back, shine your heart forward, lift your chin. And then exhale, child's pose. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, down dog. Nice and slow. Resist that temptation to move more quickly. Inhale, cow pose. And exhale, child's pose. Move through that a few more times at your own pace, staying with the breath. How about one more time together? And finishing up in your child's pose. And just pausing here for a moment, walking your hands forward, rolling through your wrists a little bit, stretching the spine, pushing the tailbone back, getting a nice lengthening of the spine. And notice the breath. On your next exhale, walk your hands over to the left. Stack your right hand over your left hand and open up to the right side of the body. Take a deep breath in and breathe into those ribs on the right side. A little harder to take a deep breath because you're folded over, but do your best here. That right side is nice and open, so breathe there. And then walk your hands back to center as you inhale. And then exhale, walk your hands over to the right, stack your hands, and now stretch through that left side of your body. Feel the ribs open as you inhale. And relax as you exhale. And walking your hands back to center. Sit back up into hero's pose, just like we started. Grab your blocks and sit on your blocks if that's better. If you prefer, you can come into saddle pose, which is a little bit different. It's bringing the toes together and the heels apart. Separate your knees and then sit back in there. So it's like you're sitting in a saddle. And then you can bring your knees a little bit more together if you want, or keep them apart. But that's a nice way to stretch the ankles too. So either hero's pose or saddle pose. Yogi's choice there. We're going to add some twisting here. So, and notice how this hero's pose feels compared to the first one. Maybe you're a little bit more flexible. So we're going to start with some simple twists and then add some variation, but again, be aware of your breath. So inhale, we bring our arms all the way up, shoulders down, fingers are spread. And then exhale, gently twist to, I'm twisting to the left. Left shoulder back, looking over that left shoulder. Nice straight spine. Inhale, bring the arms up again, come forward. And then exhale to the other side. You can use this left hand on the right side to pull you deeper into the pose, if that feels good. One more time like that. Inhale, bring your arms up, shoulders down, fingers are spread, reaching up high. And exhale. Inhale, and see how nice and slow these movements are. So it encourages us to have nice long breaths. Okay, now making a little variation. Bring the arms up and bring your hands onto your shoulder blades. Push your elbows back for a nice stretch here. Bring the arms up and twist with your arms out parallel to the floor, out to the side, and then bring your gaze over that shoulder. This left hand on the left side, the arm might not make it all the way back. It might be out at an angle, or maybe you're a little straighter. It doesn't matter. Just go as far as you can, and the twist is here. We're trying to twist through the midsection. And then inhale, come back to center. Bring those hands up onto the shoulder blades again. Push those elbows back. Nice stretch through the arms. Inhale, straighten, and twist to the other side. Fingers are spread. Look over that right hand. A couple more just like this. Arms come up. Touch your shoulder blades. Stretch. And then open out to the side. These twists are really good for the immune system, so that's good these days, right? Everyone's trying to stay nice and healthy. And this last one right here. Nice. This is some nice shoulder work, especially good if you're sitting at a desk all day, right? Just shake it out, upper body. And come back into tabletop. So I think it was last week we talked about how in tabletop, which is a simple pose, it's still a pose. So you want to check your alignment. We usually use it as a transition, but you want to always check your alignment, shoulders over your wrists, hips over your knees, and pull that belly in. We have a tendency to drop our belly in tabletop, but we don't want to do that. So make sure the core is engaged. Lift the left arm up and the right leg back. And we're just going to hold here, making sure you're stretching in opposite directions. So not just holding the limbs up, but really stretching and reaching. Toes are pointing down so that heel is pushing away from you. Fingertips are reaching forward. Make sure that right shoulder is nice and strong. Gaze is down at your mat. And just notice your breath. So you might have gone into a little bit more shallow breathing here. That is not uncommon. Make sure the breath is still long and steady and slow as much as you can. Nice and deep into the belly. Just a couple more breaths. And then let's add some crunches while we're here. So inhale, stretch those limbs out. And exhale, elbow and knee together. Crunch it up, pull your belly in, chin to the chest, nice and tight here. Inhale, nice and slow so we can get those long breaths in. And exhale, crunch it up. Couple more. Last crunch right here. Pull it nice and tight. And then let's go right to the other side. So now the right arm is up and the left leg is back. Stretching. Sometimes when I stretch really long in this pose, I can really feel it in my belly. So go for that lengthening of the muscles in the front of the belly too. And check in with your breath. Still, slow, controlled breathing. One more breath right here, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose. And now we'll add the crunches. So inhale nice and long. Exhale. Crunch it in nice and tight. Inhale, extend and stretch. Exhale. Move with the breath. It's almost like a dance. Your breath is your dance partner. One more. And then bring your limbs down. Just come into child's pose or any comfortable pose and just stretch it out a little bit. Rotate through your wrists. They get a little tired in those kind of poses, and open and close your fists a couple times. You can also, if your wrists are especially tight, you can bring the backs of your hands to the mat and just gently stretch your wrists. That feels good. All right, moving on. Let's come into down dog. So make your way back into tabletop. First, hold in the down dog. So let's just pause here for a moment, pressing the hips up and back, releasing the neck, turn the head a couple of times. Make sure you're not locking your knees. Push your hands away from you. And hips go up and back. Nice hamstring stretch. Maybe your heels are meeting the mat. Maybe they're not. That doesn't matter. Just stretch it out. And then when you're ready, lift your left leg up behind you. Point the toes. And then bend that left knee. And open that knee out to the side. And draw some circles with that left knee. Just get some movement in the hip. A couple times in one direction, a couple times in the opposite direction. And then start twisting at the waist and think about stacking the left hip over the right so that knee is going up towards the ceiling. Push your hands into the mat and try to see if you can peek under your arm. See a nice stretch here. And let's just hold this for about 6 breaths, all right, if you can. If you get tired, you can come into child's pose. But let's hold this and notice where we're feeling it in our bodies. So many muscles are working right now. But be sure to relax the muscles that you're not working, like maybe around your eyes, in your jaw. And if you want, in these last few breaths, you can stay here, add a little movement with the leg if you want, or you can pivot on that right foot and come into wild thing, bringing your torso up towards the ceiling and then lifting your left arm back. So you can add that if you like. If not, just stay where you are. Both poses are great. Oh, I feel a nice stretch right around here. And then flip back over. Pedal it out. Come back to your down dog. And just notice if anything feels different in this down dog. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. And then lift that left leg up one more time, nice and long. Pointed toes, reach back. And then as you exhale, come into pigeon. So left knee behind the left wrist, flatten the right foot. This is where you can use your blocks or your books or your pillows if you have them. If you like, you can rest your hands on blocks, which makes the pose a little bit easier. And try to walk your left foot towards the front of your mat as much as you can, but be mindful of your knee. You don't want to compromise the knee to have a, perfectly aligned pose. I don't think there's any perfection in alignment because we have to listen to our bodies. All right, so drop your hips a little bit, roll the shoulders back, shine your heart forward, and just notice what you're doing with your breath. Is it still deep into the belly? Or maybe it's not as deep in this pose. Just notice. And then when you're ready, walk your hands forward. You can stay on your palms. You can come down onto your forearms. Or you can extend your arms all the way out and bring your forehead down to the mat or resting on a block or a book whatever feels right. And just let yourself sink into the pose. This is going to be one of our long holds. We're going to hold this for a minute, so get comfortable in it. And then let your body, we talked about this last week, let your body just be like a wet noodle, kind of melting into the mat. Remember, we also talked about 4-8 breathing in these long holds. So if you can, inhale for the count of 4, exhale for the count of 8. So 1 minute here. If it starts to hurt your knee, come out of it and go into child's pose or any other pose that's comfortable for you. Deep stretch through the hip. Because we want to achieve that wet noodle sensation, you can even drop your chin. Trying to relax the body in these long holds. About 20 more seconds. Noticing how the pose is changing the longer you hold it. I always love to notice that. All right, good job. Let's slowly come out of the pose. This is my favorite part of pigeon. Tuck your toes on the right side. Slowly step out of it into down dog and pedal it out. Release those joints on the left leg. And then pause in down dog. Press those heels down. Push those hips back. Push your hands into your mat. Release your head. Don't lock those knees. So maybe you noticed in your first down dog the heels didn't touch the mat, and maybe they're touching the mat now, or maybe not. But just notice. It's all good. No judgment. And then let's start that sequence over again on the other side. So when you're ready, lift your right leg up. Nice and long. Point your toes. You can draw a little circle in one way, circle in the other way. And then bend your knee and bring that knee out to the right and start twisting. My back's going to be to you for a little bit. I apologize. Twist a little bit here. And then lift that knee up as high as you can. Try to look under that right arm, pushing the hands into the mat, reaching back with that knee. And hold. And again, you can add some circles here with that right knee, or you can hold it still, but check in with your breath. Is the breath still slow and steady? Always going back to that. Sometimes in some poses that's hard to maintain, but do your best. And then if you want to add that wild thing pose, pivot on the left foot, drop the right foot to the left side of your mat, reach back behind you, squeeze your glutes, look at that right hand, and then flip back over. These twists are so good for us. All right, and preparing for pigeon, coming back into our down dog, lift that right leg up again. And then shift forward, bringing the knee to the wrist, flatten the left leg. You know the drill. So you can either use your blocks or just walk your hands back, whatever is right for you. There are no two people who do yoga poses the same. So always make it work for your body. So in this part of the pose, we really want to open up the chest and maybe go a little deeper in the hips. And just notice, close your eyes. Notice if this side feels the same or different from the other side. Sometimes that happens. And then we can come into full pigeon, walking the hands forward. Same as the other side, on the forearms or stretching them out. So find your perfect pigeon. And then we'll hold this for a minute. Close your eyes drop your hips. Just let your body melt into the mat. You can drop your head if you like. Just let it be heavy. The body becomes more flexible when we're relaxed. So try to relax into the pose. And go to your 4-8 breathing. 1 minute here. Staying with the breath. It's so easy in these long hold poses for the mind to wander. But if we stay focused on the breath, the body has more of a chance of staying in a relaxed mode. All of those thoughts will be there after your practice. Just allow this time to be for you. About 20 more seconds. And then slowly come out of the pose, back onto your hands. Tuck the toes on the left foot. Come into down dog to stretch it out and open up those joints, the knee and the hip. So the blood flow to those joints was a little bit cut off in that pose. And then when we open up and come out of it, the oxygenated blood from your deep breathing comes gushing into the joints and everybody's happy. All right, separate your feet the width of your mat and just let those hips slide from side to side. And then walk your feet back to hip distance apart. Come into butterfly pose. So bring the soles of your feet together. Pull your heels in towards your groin as close as you can. You can hang on to your ankles. Or another nice hand pose and butterfly pose is to bring your 2 peace sign fingers together and pull your big toes towards you. That's really good for your feet. Helps to just spread those toes a little bit, which is good. And so either way, however you want to hold your hands, start flapping your knees like you're a butterfly, taking flight. Back is nice and tall. This is great for the hips, really helping to keep those hips nice and lubricated. Just a little bit more time here. Getting towards the end of our practice. These 30-minute classes go so fast. And then pause. Walk your hands forward as far as you can go. Doesn't matter how far. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, relax. Let the head go, let the elbows go, relax the knees. 3 nice long deep breaths right here. And then walk your hands back. Come on onto your back on your mat. Just getting towards the end of our practice, preparing for our last pose. Hug those knees into your chest. Tell yourself, excellent job today. Thank yourself for coming to yoga. I thank you. I'm so grateful you're here. And then let the knees fall over to one side. Open your arms out to a T shape. Turn your head to the other side for a nice long twist through the spine. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your nose. And bring those knees back to center and let them float to the other side. And then gaze in the opposite direction. Nice long inhale. And nice slow, slow exhale. Pulling that navel in at the end of every exhale. Don't forget that. And then bring those knees back to center. Straighten the legs on the mat. Reach in opposite directions. Long, good morning stretch. And then come into your Shavasana. Any comfortable position is fine. try to stay with me here in this last minute of our practice. It's really easy to stop the tape and get on to your next thing. But Shavasana is one of the most important parts of your practice. Let your feet flop. Take a nice cleansing breath. Inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Feel your whole body on the mat. Notice the touch points where your body is touching the mat compared to where it isn't. Like the back of the head is on the mat, but the back of the neck is not. Just a few more breaths right here. And then roll over onto your side. Oh, I could stay there for another hour. It's so nice. Just coming into a nice simple pose, whatever's comfortable for you. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Nice long exhale through an open mouth. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. All right, we did it, everybody. 30 minutes of yoga. Great way to either start the day or end the day or have a break during the middle of the day. So glad you joined me. Check out all the Driven YouTube videos. They're awesome. I try to do one each day myself. So thanks for joining me. I hope to see you next week. Stay healthy. Have a good rest of the day. Namaste to all of you.